Okay, so yesterday we have seen how do we add comments in JavaScript. How do we declare variables in JavaScript with the different types like string, numbers, integers, boolean, like this. And also we have seen some methods for strings, and we last point we were on the arrays. So what I did is here, let's get started with again arrays. How do we declare arrays in JavaScript? What we can do is similarly in Apex, right? We can declare arrays like this. So we can just take the scope keyword and the variable name, and above that into this brackets, square brackets, by comma separated which type of elements we need into that array, we can add by comma separated. And this is how we can print it. Like if we want to see, let me inspect it. If you guys can see here, this is the array's length 9, and this is how arrays are getting printed over here at the back end. And then where is that? Okay, employee IDs, and about that, you see undefined if you have declared the array, but if you declare any variable and if you do not initialize that variable, right, if you do not assign any value, so by default it will like undefined as a value into that. So let's see some methods of array. So let's say I want to push any element into this array, right? We have these many numbers here, and I want to put any values into it. So how do we put it? Emp IDs dot push semicolon and into bracket. Me push 20 and console.log. I'll again put emp IDs. I'll deploy this. So this push method will add one more element, 20 into this array. And if we refresh this page, see, this is the first one, right? The first console log, and this is the second one in which we have pushed this 20, and the push method will add the element at the last of this array. Okay, then we have pop method here, and let's see what pop method will do. Emp IDs dot pop. I pinned it. Console.log. Okay. AMP IDs. I will again refresh it. I use this method pop and put it 20 into it, and let's see the result. So if you look at it, right, the third console log, you'll see that 20, that pop method taken out that 20 from this array. And again, if I try to take this out, empids.pop, and what I'll do is I'll take out 14 and console.log, and let's see emp IDs. I'll just refresh it again. So if you guys can see, what we did is we taken out 20 in the right from this statement, this console log, right? We use the pop method, and after that what we did is empid 14. So if you guys can see, it did not take our 14 out, right? You can see still 14 is there. 1 second, empid. What I'll do is after 14 we have 18. Okay. So you guys see what it does is basically this method taken out this element, right? The last one. So pop method, even though you enter, right? If you guys can see, I enter here 14 and it taken out this 11th from this. So the push method will add the element at the last of this array, and pop method will take out the element from the array, last element from the array. But why this is, let me again do it and we'll see. It should take out actually 14, but let's see. Right, even though you enter, I will enter any value like 15. I will enter and I'll deploy this, and let's see. See, 15 is already, is still there. So it's just taking out the last element from this array, even though you enter any value. This is what I understood, but what I was thought is it will remove the last find of this 15th or 20th or whatever value you are entering into this pop. Maybe you guys can take a look into these methods. Look, So now what I want to do is, what I'll do is, we don't have any 22 value into it, right? Into this array. Let's print it, and I'll see. Yeah, it's it should add this 22 element to the second position of this array. And let me refresh it. So you guys can see this statement, assigning statement, right? EMP of index 2 equal to 22, which replaced 13 by this value. So if you want to replace any element from of any index from this array or any array, you can just use this statement, array of index equal to element. You can just assign this value and it will replace the value of this particular position from array. Next thing, slice. I'll do is console.log 0 to 4, and I'm just deploying this, and it will just slice our array. So if you guys can see this slice method, we passed two parameters, right? Slice the index 0 and 4, and what it does is, you can see first fourth element, it returns first fourth element. So due to this index, if you pass, let's say I'm passing here 4 and I'll pass it here 8, and let's save it and let's see the results. I'll go back and I'll just refresh it. 11 to 14 was there in the previous console. See the output here. So just printing this element based on the position that we passed, the starting position and the end position to this slice method of this array. We have unshipped here, and let's try it out with unshipped. So unshipped will add this element on the top of array at the beginning of array, and it will push the position of the rest of the element by 1. Let me refresh this. Console.log PIDs, deploy. See, this was the recent updated array, right? Recent updated one. And what we did is we used unshift and push 100 as an element into this array, and it take the position first in the array and pushed all this by position 1. Okay, so what's next? Sorting methods. Okay, let's see how this works. See, if you guys can see this last, second last statement here, console statement, in which element are element got placed based on the position or index. But if you use the slice, this function will sort your element by ascending order, right? So you guys can simply use this function, sort function, into that you'll be passing this these two elements which will sort your array. Okay, what's next we have? Okay, so next type is, this was the array, and next is objects. How do we form objects in JavaScript? So how do we let me take this, and I'll explain you this. So here what I did is I have taken one constant. I will make it var, and the name of the variable I put it employee into this. Like, what is an object? How do we form object? In object, what we do is we form object like key value pair, like a record in Salesforce, right? Or like a record in Apex. We have field API names and values, right? So in JavaScript, we can simply give two parameters for one attribute in this object type of variable. So how do we do that? Let's say I have these many attributes: name, age, pay, date with absent, address, street, pin code. So address is another type of object which got these entities like street, pin code, and city. But the employee, which has these attributes like name, age, pay, date when absent, and address. So you can just put this key value pairs, like a key will be, this will be your key, and this will be your value, like this will be your field and this will be your value, like that. So what, how, let me print it. So if you just print it here, employee, and if I deploy it, so till now we have seen the strings, arrays, and this is objects which in most of the situations we need it. So this is how we can form object type of variable by using key value pairs. And let me refresh it. Okay, so you guys can see employees, and this is how these values are getting print over here. Name Don, age 23, pay undefined because we haven't assigned any value to this. Dates when absent, we got 4 dates here, and address fields like this: a street, pin code, city, age, then dates when absent, right? So dates when absent, we got an array here like this. So this is how this array, this yes, object type of variable, we can print it here. But what else if we want to access only name of this employee? Okay, employee entity, I want to access this. So how do we do that? Let's do it. Just refresh it. You guys can see employees Don, and employee name Don. So this object variable is similar to the record in Salesforce, and you guys very well known how do we play with the records and list of records in Apex, right? So similarly, just consider, or this is just a record, and how do we access records fields? So this is how you can do it in the JavaScript. You guys knows how do we do it in Apex. So similarly, you guys can do it here like employee.name, and if you want to print other values like employee dot dates, let's say dates or address. Okay, and you can just put it like this and print the employee address, and I'll just refresh it and we'll see what's next. So if I go back to the screen, and you guys can see employee address, street, pin code, and city. And let me see address dot city. If I want to access the city, how do we do that? See, if you guys can see here, name and city is also coming here. So if I want to access attributes which is nested into this, right? We have this object type of variable. Into that we have another object address, another object as a this list of array, I can say array attribute, and this is again object. So this is how you can access the attributes into this arrays. One more method we have it. We got object.values. Like similarly, we have method in the maps in Apex, right? What we do there is map name dot get dot values, right? To print all the values from this particular map. Here in JavaScript, we have this object.values method. Object.values method, into that we need to pass the object, right? This is an object. So, and you guys can see only values are getting printed over here, right? Not the keys. Keys are not there, only values we can see here. But here at the top of this, right, the statement is showing all the values along with this, with their keys. So we have this method here we can utilize uh, to do something if you want to do something with the values. Next thing. There are another way to access the elements, but the better way or the simplest way was this is I specifically I referred this. So these are just ways. I don't want to go ahead with this. Let's try to delete entity from array, and what we do is I'm using this delete and employee of pay, and let's see if this entity it's deleting the entity or not. And if we print it, simply I'll copy this and paste it. I'll deploy this. And I'll just refresh it. See, I cannot see pay attribute here in the after delete statement because deleted this. We can use this delete command here. We can use this delete command here to delete the specific attribute from this object. So this is the syntax that you can follow to delete this particular entity from object type of variable. Next. I think we can also print keys, but I'm not sure about it, but we can try it out. Keys, yes, I see this method is there, but let's print it. And what I'll do is I'll just so we can identify. Okay, so I'll just refresh it. In Apex, in maps, we can also get the keys of the map, only keys. So we have key set method there to get all the keys. So similarly, in JavaScript, we have keys method, object dot keys, and into that pass this object name, and it will return keys of that particular object. You guys can see values and keys, name, ton, age, pay, like this. So these are different methods we have in JavaScript, but we need to play with it, right? So what's next? Okay, so till now we have covered how do we play with the single record, right? Single object record in JavaScript. Now what I want to do is I want to play with list of objects. So how do we play with it? So I'm just taking this out, and what I'll do is employee. Okay, and I'll do is what I'm trying to do here is I'll be adding, this is the one record, right? One object record I'm adding into this array, and by comma separated, I'm adding another object. Like this is how I form this object here, and I'm just changing the name like employee. I'm just Manu 25 payment. I'll just keep this data as it is, and summer code, pin code, city Pune, and what I'll do is console.log employees. Okay. Let me deploy it and let's see. Let's refresh it. So if you guys can see, in employees, we got two records. And if you just expand this, you'll see at the zeros index and first index name, this values, age, pay, again, record 1 and record 2. So this is how this is how we can play with this list of objects and single object record. This is how we can form it, and this is how by using the keyword pair by comma separated, we can add many records into it and we can play with it, because this is an array of object, right? So definitely you can use the arrays methods to play with these records or this object element. What I have it, let me check. Okay, one more thing I would like to show you. Because we already had this, right? Employee. We already have this here, right? But what I want to do is I can also do this. What we did is this is the object variable, right? Employee. And this is the list of employees which will be holding employee information. So employee will be the record. So I'm just putting it here was a single employee. And by comma separated, I'm creating another object which will be holding information of another employee. This is how you can just by comma separated here, you can add multiple records or multiple object records into this array of object. Let's see if we are getting correct output. So again, if you come back and see, you will see the same output, because we are just doing, we are referencing this object variable and again creating new one, right? So I hope everyone is getting these things. These are very basics, but maybe not today. Maybe tomorrow we'll be starting with the actual LWC topics. Okay. So next point is functions, how function works in JavaScript. So what I'll do is I'm just taking this function. So hello TGS. This is how we can use this function and name of the function, and into that whatever logic you want to implement, you can implement it. But like as we know, this function needs to be called from somewhere, right? So what I'll do is great, and I will just comment this object. Okay. I hope this will call our function. Yeah, you guys can see hello TGS. So similarly in Apex, right? Here in JavaScript, we have function keyword to define this function, and you can write the definition of this function here into this bracket. And this is the function name, and this is how you can call it. But if you don't call this function from anywhere, this function will not get called from anywhere, and you will not see any logs here. So make sure that you are calling that function. If you have implemented any function, that function should get called from any action, on click, on change, whatever it is. But you guys can see we are not getting this console statement, right? So you guys can just use this git, and this is how you can simply call it. There are different ways to use the functions, different syntaxes in JavaScript, multiple syntaxes you can follow. The similar thing I can do with these arrow functions, but I feel this is the simplest one. That's why I'm just following this function. But we have another ways, like you can just take one variable, name of it, and into you can use uh, this kind of syntax as well. So let's see, how do we do? Let's say I'm just passing this greeting. Let's deploy it and let's see how. I'm just trying to see how we can pass parameter to the function and access into it. You guys can see greetings, hello TGS. So what I did is I'm just passing this hello TGS string, and I have taken this like we, for the functions in Apex, we need to mention the data type, right? As a string, greetings. But here in JavaScript, as I mentioned, right, data type, we don't need to mention explicitly. You just need to have this variable name, and this value will get automatically assigned to this variable, and you can access this and do whatever things you want to do into this function. This is how you can pass parameter to the function in JavaScript. Next. Okay, next we have operators. These are also functions, but whatever we covered, I think that's sufficient. But this is what something we can do as well. We can have this, let's take one example. I'll define one function. Okay, function addition, just for your addition, and I'll be taking this one A and B, and what I'll do is I'll simply console.log calculations. Okay, addition was fine, and what you guys can do is A plus B equals to A plus B, and what I'll do is I'll simply call this addition function, and I will pass 10, 20, and let's see the output. you guys can see a plus b equal to 30, right? So we can do something like this as well, right? Like we just printed a string here, but you can use functions to calculations, right? Or if you want to, if in your code you want to reutilize piece of code, right? Instead of writing it again and again for some reasons, you can just implement the functions, separate function, and just pass this parameter, and that function will return whatever value you want. Next, operators. So operators, similarly, we have equal to, strictly equal to, not equal to, strictly not equal to. So let me take this as we have it, just utilize this one. So I'm just taking these two constant variables. And if you want to check if let's say console.log, so let me deploy this and refresh it. This is double equal to operator, right? Equal to operator, which will compare these values, and it will give you the result in a boolean, as we are checking like a condition here. But if I take this, right, what do you think what it should do it now? Will it return true or will it return false? I would say it should return true, and let's see. See, true. Why? Constant x and y. We have taken this. This is we have taken as a string, right? And this is integer, let's say, or number. And still I'm getting it's equal to true, which is wrong. But if I make it console.log and x strictly equal to y, and this will return false, because this is the equal to operator, and the 3 times equals to, which is strictly equal to, which will compare the data types, like data types of these variables x and y. But this simple equal to will just compare the values. It don't care about the data types, but this strictly will check the values along with the data types. Let's refresh it and let's see the output. See the output. First was true right away, as we have used equal to, and the second one is giving us false, as we have used this strictly equal to. Got it? And this is the assignment operator, as we already know it, and this is the equal to, strictly equal to. Same thing you guys can follow with not equal to as well. Let's say let's print it. This is the strictly not equal to, and if you want to use not equal to, you can simply take out this one and you will see different results here. See, true, false, false, true. And what we did is true, false, false, true. Why this is giving false? Because it's not strictly equal to. Here we got strictly equal to, that's why it's giving the expected result. So you guys should take care of these things while implementing such kind of things, and like putting the conditions. These are the operators will give you the exact result, like strictly not equal to, or where you want to use not equal to, like that. See, the first one is always true because it's a strictly, it was strictly equal to, this is, sorry, the equal to, strictly equal to, and these are not equal to. Okay, let's move on. Conditional statements. I'm just copying this for time being. Is greater than, as we know, how do we put condition in Apex, right? Same thing we can, same thing is applying here. Like we can have this app if, and into that we can check these conditions. And okay, let's save it and let's deploy it and let's see the result. See, I'm getting this error because I'm using the variables which are not there, right? Correct. So what's expected? A and B. I'll deploy it. And I'll simply refresh it. The statement is not getting printed over here because this condition is not satisfied. So what I'll do is I'll see B is greater than A. Equals A is equals to B. And here I will print it console. B is bigger, and I will just say 20. So these are just a condition. I just wanted to show you the basics. CB is bigger. We are here, right? Because B is bigger. And if you make it 2020, right? it will definitely give you that result. Till then, I'll see what's next. Conditions are okay. Okay, I have one more condition. Type of conditions. See, A is equals to B because we put it here like a 2020. And one another way, if we don't want to write these lines of code, right? These many lines of code. So how do we do it? Console.log. A is greater than B. Print A is bigger. I will tell you what kind of statement is this. Else if, so first of all we'll B is bigger. Okay, I will just take this out. Okay, I'll keep this. So this is called ternary operator. Ternary operator, like the syntax of ternary operator is, here you will be putting condition, then like we put it like A is greater than B, then this question operator. Above that, sorry, next to that, it will be your value if the condition matches true, and else part will remain false. So based on your requirement, you can just utilize this ternary operator in JavaScript as well as in Apex. So put it like this: condition, your condition, this operator, question operator, then the value which needs to be written on condition matches, and if condition is false, then what you need to return. You can use the colon and the else part of it. So if you scroll down, see where is that? The for the first one. Okay, let me see what we have done. See why it is giving us this value. B is bigger. A is equal to B, which is coming from this statement, right? Because A is equal to B, and we are checking here A is greater than B, then print A is bigger, else we are directly printing B is bigger. So how we can put it in one liner? So what I'll do is B is greater than A, then B is bigger, else A is equals to B. And I will just comment it out and I'll simply deploy it. Loops. Okay, we are almost there. See, A is equal to B. So I have already commented this code, right? So instead of line this many writing this many lines of code, you can utilize this ternary operator and you can put it this statement in the single line. So this is one of the way of conditional statements. Instead of if else, you can use this ternary. And next thing is for loops that I need to cover it. Shall we cover it today, or you guys are fine? If you guys have 5 to 10 minutes, we'll cover it. Okay, let's do it. It will not take much time. So how do we utilize for loops? Okay, so this is the for loop that we have already seen, right? Let I equal to 0, I is less than 5, and I plus plus. And here console.log, and you'll be printing I. This is one kind of for loop. Another kind of, if you have list of array, right? If I'm having this list of subject arrays, how do we do it? Okay, so what I can do is I'll take one for, I'll be having this let I again, I is less than, I will just copy this name employees dot length I plus plus, and what I'll do is I'll simply put it console.log. And how do we get elements? Employees of 5 dot name. Okay, or you can simply put employee if you want to have full information about employee, and you can simply deploy it. I'm just commenting this, so it will, hopefully this will work. You guys can see this is the integer, right? The first for loop that we have written over here, right? Which is 0 to 5, which will print the 0 to 4 values. And then these are two values, right? This is the array variable employee of I, and then employee.name we are printing here, right? Employee of I of name. So these are different ways. Let me see if any other ways we have it. There is also another way, these kind of ways, but the simplest way I generally follow. So I follow this way, but there are different ways to iterate over any list of object or arrays. Okay, that's it for today. from my end. So we have almost covered all the basics which we will be needing in the learning LWC. So these are very basic topics, or these are very basic things that we have covered till time in JavaScript as a part of JavaScript fundamentals. But tomorrow onwards, we will be starting with the actual LWC topics. So tomorrow will not be having session, but I will open this bridge. I'll be there in this call from 9. And if you guys have any doubts, we can clear those doubts in tomorrow's sessions. But tomorrow we will not be having any session, technical session. Day after tomorrow, we'll be having this technical session in which we will be starting with the LWC, actual LWC topics. So from day after tomorrow, we'll be having alternate page sessions. And again, alternate days we'll be having doubt clearing sessions. Means bridge will be open at the same time. Whoever having any doubts, we can discuss over there. Also, I'll be sending out one assignment on these basics. You guys can try to do it in your personal work. I hope everybody is using VS Code, so they can go ahead with this JavaScript. I will also share this how do we set up VS Code, this link in email along with the assignment, and you guys can get started with the assignment. So you'll get hands-on in JavaScript basics. Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Let's conclude the session. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Nilesh.
Thank you.